Hello everyone, this is Dustin Gant, and for my strategy demonstrations video I will be going over learning maps. The content area is agriculture, more specifically horticulture, and the intended grade level is probably about 10th grade, but it also just kind of depends when the student is enrolled in a horticulture class in high school. First, I'm going to show you a blank learning map. It's just kind of a template. Up here at the top, you would put the activity that you're going to be doing, or maybe even the text that the lesson will be over. And here you'll put objectives or goals that you want to achieve from this lesson. Next, you can list some questions that go along with the learning objectives, or will provide information pertinent to the lesson. And then here in this next section, you will answer those questions and give more information on them. And then next, there's a little vocabulary section, and any new terms or terms that there might be confusion about, you can use that to clarify it and define those terms, either by dictionary definition or, better yet, your own or the student's own definition. These learning maps should be prepared before the lesson, writing the activity, objectives, and questions about the content. And it can either be done printed like this from a template, or it can just simply be written on a sheet of notebook paper. Just depends on what is most convenient and effective at the time. These learning maps can be used, you could use it while doing a reading activity, either with the class or by yourself, after adding those questions, and answer those questions along as you go, or do it afterwards. Or in my case, I would use it to go along with an activity. So I would fill it out beforehand, like I have already done, and it's going to be propagation by cuttings. The goals are to learn what propagation by cuttings is, why we do it, and how we propagate cuttings. And to cover that information, I used questions like what, why, and how. What are cuttings? What is propagation? And how do they go together? You would continue along with that. The next section is titled Cuttings and Propagation. Cuttings come from a mother plant and can be from a leaf, root, stem, whatever it may be from. And then propagation is the reproduction of plants through a variety of means. And propagation by cuttings involves gathering cuttings and rooting it in some sort or some form of media. And vocabulary that we gathered from that would be cuttings, propagation, and mother plant, which I just realized I left blank. But for cuttings, it would be a material from another plant that is to be used for production. And then propagation, of course, is the growing of a new plant. The next section is why, and we do why do we propagate, and why do we use cuttings to propagate. Number one, we propagate to produce new plants, which could be for research, retail, or for a personal collection. And oftentimes cuttings are used because you can get a plant that's nearly identical to the mother plant with many of the same characteristics, or even identical. And some plants are hard to propagate from seed. Some plants you don't ever get to seed in certain areas. And then sometimes you just need to get a bigger plant quicker than you can from the seeds. And this information would be what the student records in that section. And vocabulary from that, we got retail horticulture, which is basically just selling plants and plant materials to the public, which is why many cuttings are taken, as it's, horticulture, just like many other things, is a business. And then now we'd move on to the how. And how does one take a cutting, and how do you propagate from that cutting? And then it's kind of a little step-by-step deal about how you would do that. You did cut the cutting. If it's a stem with 2 or 3 nodes, leaf, section of root, just depends on the plant how you will go about that. And then you place it in the media, and then take care of it afterwards. Maybe even add some root stimulator to help with the plant growth. And then from that, we got vocabulary, nodes, and root stimulators. Node is a point of growth on the plant, and root stimulators can be in a powder, liquid, or paste form, and contains quality or minerals that help plants root. Like I previously mentioned, these learning maps can be used for either reading activities or lab activities, like I will be doing. And since we've done propagation by cuttings is what we were learning about, that's what we would go out in the lab or the horticulture, the greenhouses to learn about and get some hands-on experience. In this case, we're going to be doing a stem cutting from a pothos ivy, which is pretty easy to grow, and it's a good thing to get kids interested in plants, because it's similar to the bean deal we all did. Wrap it up in a wet paper towel and it germinates, except just a little different and a little bit slower. But you take the cutting, again leaving 2 or 3 nodes like was mentioned in the lesson, and then here is a form of root stimulant that again was mentioned in the learning map, and we defined in the learning map. This one is a powder form, Hormodin 1, and then dip it in there, and then put the plant in the media, and then take care of it afterwards and watch it grow. For me, as I plan on teaching ag, I'll probably use these learning maps pretty often to be paired with activities, lab activities like that one, but it could also be used in a bunch of other classrooms from a reading activity, or just really anything you do. A learning map can be useful and help put some structure to everything and keep everything organized for the students. Thank you.